Oh, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I want to start by saying congratulations to everyone who ran the London Marathon today. It was fun to watch, and you probably see I've got a few bags under my eyes because I was up early trying to watch as much of it as I could. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stream it live very well. I was more or less able to just kind of listen to the commentary and follow along on the app. But still, it was a lot of fun to do. When I did try to stream it off of YouTube, they had big black bars in the center of it, so you could barely see the runners. You could see them from time to time, but you could definitely hear the commentary. So I still felt like I was getting a little bit of the experience. And then later, they did have some highlight video that was put out that I was able to watch a little of it that way too. So I enjoyed it. But I hope that you guys had a good time, those that were there and ran it. And again, congratulations to you. I wish that I was there. I wish that I was there. It looked like so much fun. Okay, so that leads us into today's video, which is a recap of my last marathon training block. Now, it's not a super deep dive. The training block didn't go as planned, but I thought that we would at least take a look back and talk about some, not just the workouts that I did, but, a little of what I plan to do differently next time, because I think I learn more from my mistakes than I do my successes at times, for sure. So to back the bus up a little, for those that are brand new, now I used an intermediate marathon training plan that was developed by Garmin. Now it's absolutely free. It's free to use. If you want to download or start using a program like that, all you have to do is go to connect.garmin.com and create an account. It's absolutely free. You don't have to have a Garmin device to use it. You can just schedule the plan or pick the plan that's right for you, schedule it, and you can follow along on your computer or your tablet, what have you, to get the workouts. However, if you have a Garmin device, like, I'm using the Garmin Fenix 6, which is an older version of the Fenix watch, but it still works absolutely fabulous, and it's holding up really well, so I don't see any need to change. So Garmin does know what they're doing when it comes to making running watches, that's for sure. But what I love about it is not just because it's free and it's very well thought out, and I've had a lot of success with it, but I love the fact that it gets loaded to my watch, so I don't have to remember what I'm supposed to be doing, and I can look ahead to see what my next workout's going to be. So I really like that. I really like that piece of it. But if you want to set one up for yourself, go to connect.garmin.com, set up an account, scroll all the way over to the left-hand side, down to where it says training and plans, click on that. And then what's going to come up is a bunch of different training plan options that you have available, not just for running. They have cycling and swimming. And then when it comes to running, they have basically two categories. They've got a guided set of plans for you that go from 5K up to a half marathon, and then they have the self-guided plans that go up through to the marathon level. Well, that's where I needed to go because they don't have marathon guided plans. You have to choose one of the self-guided programs, and that's okay. I've really been enjoying it. So anyway, that's for another video. But I scroll down to where it says intermediate, and where I was dedicating 5 days a week to work out to try to reach my goal. And once you've clicked on that, then to schedule it, you just go up to the upper right hand corner of the page, and then you're going to go to the drop down menu to pick the end date, so the date that you're going to be running your marathon. Enter that. In this case, it's October the 13th for the Chicago Marathon. And then it will calculate back when you need to start your 16-week program, which in this case is June the 24th. So that's how you set it up, and that's the one that I use. There's tons of programs out there, and there's always the option of hiring or working with a running coach that can develop something more tailored to you. So lots of different plans that are out there that you can choose from. This just happens to be the one that I've had a lot of success with. I've used it 5 times, and 4 out of the 5 times I've run Boston Marathon qualifying times, so I can't argue with the results at all. So let's just take a little bit closer look at what it all entails. Now, in total, for that 16 weeks, that's 72 different workouts, and I've broken them down into 4 different categories: recovery, easy, speed, and then the long run. So let's take a look at how many of each of those are expected to do. With the recovery workouts, it has you do 10. easy 16, speed work 30, and then long run 16, one each week. And if we look at the percentage breakdown of that, that means that 14% of the time would be recovery workouts, 22% would be easy, 42% is speed work, and then for the long run is 22%. So it does heavily weigh the speed work aspect of it, which is primarily doing interval type of work. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because, you know, if you want to run faster, you have to run faster. There's just no two ways about it. Now, whether or not you need to run, you know, 42% of your workout schedule to get there, you know, there's a lot of debate about that. I think the general rule of thumb is about 20%, but I'm certainly okay with doing the 42% or the 30 different workouts. But I do plan to make some changes going forward. So that's kind of how that broke down. Now, I did get injured right away, and you know, when I look back on it, it's probably should not come as any big surprise to me because I simply was overdoing it. I just was trying to do too much. You know, I was dealing with some injury issues already for the Chicago Marathon. That was really in question whether or not I'd even be able to run the Chicago Marathon or not, and that was in October, but I was able to run it. And then right away, the next month, I ran the New York Marathon, and then a month later or so, I was starting to train for the Boston Marathon again. So just a lot of stress on my body as a runner and not enough recovery time. So that is my big mistake, is I simply didn't allow my body enough time to recover. And, you know, thinking back on the past, you know, over my running career, the times where I was able to run injury-free for long periods of time, is I had a lot of time to recover for many years. I ran just 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they were basically a long run every day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'd run 13 to 15 miles each of those different days. The problem was there was no variance. I didn't do any speed work. It was all kind of just that steady, easy run. So really what I was building was a Clydesdale, you know, something that was strong and steady, but not very fast. And when I switched up and started to train, so when I moved from basically just running for fun to actually training and using programs like this, I didn't start out with this. I started out with some half marathon training plans, but worked my way up here. And I went from running right around, you know, that 30-minute 5K to pretty routinely a 20-minute 5K. So definitely saw big improvements by simply changing up the nature of the workouts that I was running and not necessarily how many miles I was running. So I'm still running about the same number of miles that I was when I was running for fun. That was 3 days a week. It's just I'm doing a lot of variance in that speed work. In addition, you know, now for sure has made a huge difference. But the trade-off is that I'm not getting as much recovery time in there. And the older I get, the more recovery time I personally seem to need. So that's one of the things I'm going to be changing going forward. And I'll talk about that here in just 1 second. But before I do, really the only other thing that I wanted to talk about as far as a training block goes, because I don't have a real deep dive of information to go over today, because the majority of the workout I was doing on my stationary bike, because I got injured so early. You know, in total there are 72 different workouts, and of those 72 I ran 11 times to begin with. That's how I started the training block out. I ran 11 times for a total of 55.2 miles. That's how far I went. And then I got injured, and then I had to ride my bike. So I rode my bike for 58 of the scheduled workouts. And on my bike, I rode 1,262.75 miles. So I rode a long ways on that stationary bike in my living room. So that was kind of the breakdown. And so that was 58 and 11. That's not 72. I did miss one of the workouts, and that was done by design. I purposely skipped one of the easy workouts at the very end of the training block when I was in the taper, because, you know, I got a, you know, I've been dealing with that femoral neck stress fracture. And that's when I got diagnosed as that, or at least my doctor was pretty certain that that's what was going on. And I started to kind of freak myself out a little bit there at the end and decided that maybe I didn't want to do anything for a little bit and see. But it all worked out. It all worked out. But that's the reason that I missed that one easy workout toward the end. But one of the things I do like to look at when I think back and I start to debrief the training block that I completed is my heart rate. And so when I was running for just those 11 times, but my average heart rate when I was running, when I started the training plan, was 147 beats per minute on average, with a max, an average max of 158 beats. And then now that's the max average. And then the overall max was 175 beats per minute. I compared that to when I rode my bike, and my average heart rate was 135 beats per minute, so significantly lower than the 147 when I was running. But what was interesting to me is that my average max heart rate was 155, and my running was 158, so not a big difference between those two from running or being on my stationary bike. And then the overall max when I was riding my bike was 178. And that's not a big difference between that and when I was running, which was 175. So I think overall, the cardio aspect of riding my stationary bike was pretty much on par with running. And I think that's true. My experience has been because I've had to use my stationary bike at other times during training blocks when I was injured or working through some issues, and I seem to do just fine. And, being able to maintain that cardio fitness that way. So overall, I think cardio-wise, it's pretty equivalent. It's pretty equivalent. So then going forward, I will start a return to run program because I'm still in the midst of dealing with this femoral neck stress fracture that I have, and it's my left hip. So I haven't gotten the okay to start doing any real return to run program yet. I've got a couple of weeks, and then I'll have my follow-up appointment. They're going to do an x-ray, and then I'll probably be a few days after that. And then hopefully, if that all goes well, they'll give me the nod to say, okay, now you can start back. But it's going to be a really slow progression. I anticipate it being about 6 weeks as a return to run program, building up to starting the Chicago training block, which would be June 24th. But when I enter into the Chicago Marathon training block, I will likely continue to use the intermediate marathon training plan because I love it. I love it. I've had a lot of success with it. I can't argue with the success that I've had. But one of the things that I intend to do differently is to give my body a little bit more recovery time between my run workouts. So that will mean instead of doing all of my speed work in my running shoes, I'll be doing some of the speed work on my stationary bike intentionally this time. Intentionally, not because I have to, but because it's probably the right thing for me to do. So that's really the big change that I plan to make going forward. And to maybe not push quite so hard. When I think back about my very first marathon that I ran, which was not that long ago, it was late May of 2022, so less than 2 years ago. And I went out and I ran a really solid time, but I had no expectation. I wasn't trying to go out and set a personal best. During the training that I was doing, I was just trying to do my best, but not overdo. And I can't argue with the success that I had. And then I improved that time a little bit when I went to Detroit, 6 months later. And then, I ran a really good time. And that's when I really started having problems, because I went and I ran like a 3:21:10 in Detroit. And I thought, oh boy. And then I started thinking, I could run a sub-3 marathon maybe, right? So that's when I started pushing way harder than I should. So I need to get back to that, just do the best you can and not overdo mindset. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to start the Return to Run program, as kind of crazy as that sounds, even though it's going to be like really, really small, right? So I might start out running for 5, maybe 7 minutes on a treadmill where I've offloaded a lot of my weight, that kind of thing. Just start out really, really small and then building slowly up into my normal schedule. I'm super excited about it. I am super jazzed. So I can't wait. And the nice thing about that is that hopefully I'll be able to start that within, about 3 weeks or so. And I think my follow-up appointment is May 7th. I've mentioned that many times. And hopefully I'll get the results of the X-ray shortly thereafter, and then I can move right into it. So lots of videos to come. Lots of videos to come. I'm going to be doing a lot of vlogging style videos, so it won't, it'll be more like what am I doing to help with the rehab of this femoral neck stress fracture. But lots of product reviews, things like that coming in. I've got some new workout gear that's coming my way, some workout shirts, some more shirts from Filebach, which I love those shirts. I wear them all the time to work out in. They do a really good job. They're that moisture wicking type of material. I still want to look at the Nike Alphafly 3s that are still sitting in the box. In fact, I had them on the sofa next to me in yesterday's video, and I was going to talk about them, but never did. So I haven't even really gotten them out of the box. So lots of fun stuff coming to the channel. All right, you guys. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong. You kind of want to know that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Whew. All right.